What if the most dangerous prison in the world had no walls? No bars, no locks, no guards. Just a voice and your complete, unquestioning belief in it. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is giving up everything, their savings, their family, their sense of self, and they believe it is the greatest decision they have ever made. The terrifying part? They're not weak. They're exactly like you.
Throughout history, certain individuals have demonstrated a capability so disturbing, so surgically precise, that psychologists struggle to fully map its boundaries. The ability to dissolve a person's identity and replace it with something of their own design. We call them cult leaders, but that word flattens the horror of what they actually are. They are not simply charismatic. They are architects. Architects of dependency, of fear, of manufactured meaning. Their followers are not the broken or the lost. Studies show they are often intelligent, educated, searching people. People who wanted something real in a world that felt hollow. And that hunger, that very human hunger, is exactly what gets used against them. What follows is the psychology of that process. Step by step, layer by layer. By the end, you may find yourself wondering how close you have come.
It begins with warmth. That is the part no one warns you about. There is a technique, documented by psychologists, studied in defection cases, witnessed in testimony after testimony, called love bombing. In the earliest stages of recruitment, the target is flooded with attention, affirmation, and a sense of profound belonging. They are told they are special, that they have been chosen, that the group understands them in ways no one else ever has. The brain responds to this the way it responds to any reward: dopamine, warmth, trust. Now comes the next layer. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the group begins to create a boundary between the recruit and the outside world. It doesn't feel like isolation. It feels like clarity. The outside world is called corrupted, toxic, spiritually blind. The recruit begins to agree because the inside feels so luminous by comparison. This is called information control. The leader curates reality. Outside news is dismissed. Doubt is reframed as a test of faith. And questions are the most dangerous thing of all.
Here is what the research reveals, and it is perhaps the most unsettling truth in all of social psychology. The cult leader does not trap the body, they dismantle the self. Psychologist Robert Lifton, in his landmark study of thought reform, identified a process he called the demand for purity. The recruit is taught that their old self, their instincts, their past, their personal history, is fundamentally flawed, sinful, contaminated. The only path to wholeness is total surrender to the group's ideology. And so the person volunteers to disappear. Their name may change. Their relationships are severed, not by force, but because staying connected to the outside world begins to feel like betrayal. Their time belongs to the group. Their sleep is rationed. Their thoughts are monitored, not by cameras, but by the crushing weight of communal expectation. There is a name for this state in psychology: cognitive narrowing. The mind, exhausted, stripped of alternative perspectives, begins to lose the very capacity for independent thought. The leader's voice fills the silence where the self used to be. And when that happens, leaving becomes unthinkable, because leaving becomes nothing.
Former members describe a specific kind of grief after leaving. Not grief for what was taken from them, grief for the version of themselves that believed, that trusted, that surrendered willingly. Many require years of psychological recovery, not because they were damaged before,
but because the architecture of their reality was so thoroughly rebuilt by another person's hand. The manipulation was never loud. It was quiet, consistent, patient. It moved the way fog moves, slowly, softly, until the world outside disappeared entirely.
The cult leader's greatest weapon is not charisma. It is the very thing that makes us human, our need to belong, to believe, to matter. Every technique used in these groups exists somewhere on a spectrum, in certain workplaces, in certain relationships, in certain ideologies you may have already encountered. The defense is not cynicism, it is awareness. The slow, disciplined practice of asking, who benefits from what I am being asked to believe? Because the mind that cannot ask that question is a mind that is already being written in someone else's hand. You have been listening to Silent Psyche. Some doors, once opened, cannot be closed. Subscribe if you're still certain of your own thoughts.